Hello, everybody. This is the Splinterlands Town Hall covering the last airdrop day. This is a super exciting day for our community, and we wanted to go cover it and just talk it through. You're currently listening to the voice of Aggroed. I'm CEO and founder of Splinterlands, and I'm joined today by Matt Rosen, or Yabat Matt, who is the other co-founder here, and then we have Hardpoint, who's our chief technology officer. You guys want to go say a quick hello?
Hi.
Yeah, I guess those are two quick hellos. Excellent.
I took it literally.
Yeah.
Surprise.
But all right. So I guess before we even talk about the airdrop, I mean, can we just briefly say what the airdrop is? I mean, there are at times people that are new to the stream that don't know anything about the things that we're talking about. So can you guys just kind of like walk it through what was the airdrop, how long did it last, what happened, and just kind of give like a really high level of this thing?
Yeah, I mean, initially, obviously, the plan was always to distribute the governance token SPS to the Splinterlands asset holders. Typical airdrops are, there's one snapshot and that's it, and you see whatever the airdrop that that they whatever asset the airdrop is based on spike in price up until that snapshot and then dump right after the snapshot for the airdrop. We didn't think that would be great for the game or the project or for anybody really. So we decided to do this year long airdrop where there's a snapshot taken every single day for a year, which I haven't seen done before. So I thought that was pretty neat and innovative. And I thought it was just a great way to, encourage, people to just get and hold and use Splinterland's assets, for a long period of time, and really like not just distribute the tokens to everyone who happened to like hold it on this one day and one time, but just give a very long period of time for people who wanted to kind of be a part of this ecosystem and get their governance tokens and start earning their stake to participate. And so that's what we did.
Do you want to give like a little bit of an overview or kind of like what the vision is for the governance token? We wrote it up in white papers, and we've been living with this thing. But what is the overall objective here, both for like Splinterlands, but specifically for how do Splinter Shards fit into the vision for Splinterlands?
I mean, our goal as gamers, I mean, there's one part of NFTs, which is just, players can own their assets, right? You can actually get collectibles when you put money into a game. You can resell them. So that's great. But to me, that's only one step of what we're trying to do here. And we want to take the whole ownership concept even further than that, which, decentralized autonomous organizations and blockchain and crypto allow, which is to really have as much as possible a player owned product. So the idea is that, the governance token will allow players in the community to govern the direction of the entire product and everything. And that's something that I've never seen done before in my lifetime of gaming. It's kind of a scary concept, in a lot of ways. The sort of idea of giving up control, especially for any company we've talked to, and a lot of people even within our company, that idea is scary. But I actually, well, I want to try it. I want to, we want to experiment with this. We want to figure this out. And B, I think that, in reality, there's always a few loud people who might have ideas that people don't agree with. But in reality, I think the majority of our token holders, especially the whales, are actually really smart. They really understand the game and the product as a whole, and we get a lot of our ideas from them. It's not just us, knowing everything or doing everything. We don't always get everything right. So I think ultimately, like having some type of more democratic process around what happens in the game will make things much better for everybody. I think better decisions will be made. I think a lot of decisions that might have been made that could turn out poorly will end up not going through if there's enough disagreement from the community and all these things. So this is what's really new. This is what's innovative. Like this has never been done before. So yeah, there's going to be mistakes. It's going to be a turbulent ride, but I think we can achieve it. I think we have a good plan and roadmap to get there. And I think everyone here listening to this and part of the community now are going to be part of this, the first time that this has been ever done before in this kind of grand experiment.
So I just loaded the website and the damn thing loaded. So the new screens are up. Ron, are you able to show the Splinterland screen? That was like a 6-minute maintenance window. They just pushed all the things. So I don't know if hopefully Ron is listening, but in a second I'm hoping that we'll move over and then we can go talk about that. The Yeah, I mean, I think doing something where um, the players actually in charge and actually own this thing and actually operate it is wonderful. And when you said something along the lines of like can't get it right. And my experience in crypto so far is that like there's a couple of things that you can actually do wrong, and then getting it right is like extremely subjective. You can flub it, the website can fail, and there can be technical difficulties, or you can just like totally plan something stupid that everybody knows is stupid. But outside of like that edge, really it comes to me as sort of like what is good and what is bad is subjective. And if we set a limit somewhere, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for the community, and the community might want it somewhere different. And I really like the opportunity for the people that own the stake to go control where that lies. So Ron is showing some of the footage here. It looks like he's claiming SPS, and here's sort of like the end of that era. We welcome in a brand new screen here. So the I guess Hardpoint. Do you kind of want to walk us through what we're looking at on the dashboard here?
Yeah, so the biggest changes, right? The airdrop is gone. It used to be on the right hand side. I mean, that's what everybody that's been logging in for the last year has seen. Now we have a new screen for SPS. We actually added a new screen for vouchers. If you look at right next to the dashboard button, you can see the vouchers dashboard and see what your balance is. When you stake SPS, you also get vouchers, which is pretty awesome. And so you can now see that balance. But back on the main SPS screen, right? This is where you can see your balance in SPS, what you have liquid, which is not staked, and then you can actually stake your liquid tokens on the left-hand side, and you can see the APR. The APR that we show there is our own calculation based on the staking rewards in SPS and vouchers, which is important to consider because they're two different things based on estimated market prices. But yeah, we actually even added a spot where you can see how many node licenses you have as well, and how many are in game or how many are in Hive Engine. And you actually get voucher rewards right now for that as well, which is pretty awesome. And it even shows you what your last reward was there.
So going forward, this will be our new experience. I think that the APR text is a little small, but otherwise, a lot of this looks pretty nice. Matt, anything you want to say about this change and what you're thinking about it or thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was done very quickly, so I know it's not like the ultimate, final UI that Nate and the team would like, but it was more of an MVP. Make sure we can get it out, for now. One of the first things we're going to be adding is the liquidity reward information. So the liquidity pool rewards are going to start at noon, so about 20 minutes. We're gonna hopefully get the details of that on the website there that they just showed within the next week or so. But in the meantime, Peak Monsters has already added the information on the rewards page of their site. So if you go to Peak Monsters, there's a rewards page somewhere, and it will show all the different liquidity pools that we announced will have rewards and what the current APRs are on those based on the amount of liquidity that there is. I mean, there's definitely a ton of opportunity for people to get a good return right now in the pools. And then so within the next week or so, we hope that the claiming of the rewards will be available on the website. But until then, the rewards will accrue. So if you have liquidity in the pools starting in about 20 minutes, rewards will accrue on your account until they start becoming claimable shortly.
Do you want to walk through what those rewards are, and like let maybe do like a little high level review of the post that we put out for SPS? Where was token inflation before today? Where will it be immediately after today? And then what sort of things are going live and when?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the numbers here. So, while the airdrop was going on, it was 1.1 million tokens a day, 33.333 million tokens a month. So total with all the other pools, it was like something like 51 million tokens a month being given out for SPS. As of today, where the airdrop ends and the liquidity rewards start, that'll drop down to about 23 million tokens a month, so less than half. So it's a little over 50% reduction in the amount of SPS that's going to be given out daily as of today. And then, soon over the next couple months, we plan to add in the SPS reward pools for ranked battles, validator nodes, and guild brawls, which will bring the total up to about 37 million per month. So again, the after those pools are added, the drop will be from 51 million a month to 37 million a month. So still a pretty decent drop there in the distribution, and then it'll start kind of the rewards and utility phase of the token. So I don't know if is that a good segue into that part? Or
Yeah. And somebody just showed the Peak Monsters piece. Vedev did this at 11:44. He put up the sort of variety of rewards that are possible. The like, how many people are staking tokens in them, the monthly rewards, and some of what the APRs are. And those are pretty aggressive targets. Like SPS and Swap.hive has something like a 357% APR right now, and the voucher in Hive has a 280% APR, and SPS BNB has a 220% APR. So,
the reason
I
for
mean,
that is that we Splinterlands and or the DAO were the ones who were providing the majority of the liquidity in those pools, and we're at the moment not eligible for the rewards, in order just to incentivize more of our player base to provide liquidity.
Is that going to change in the future, Matt?
I think not for Splinterlands, the company necessarily, but the DAO, at some point should probably be able to earn rewards for its liquidity. I mean, that'll end up being something that will be a governance vote for the community, so the community can decide whether they want the DAO to provide liquidity or not, and then whether they should be able to earn rewards. But for the meantime, before we have the governance voting and all that, the goal was really just to try to increase the liquidity as much as possible. So this seemed like the best way to do it.
yeah, I mean those are nice APRs. Those are like that's not what I'd expect with a 4-year-old project, right? Those are APRs that look like hot things on Pancake Swap just starting or something. Those are kind of killer APRs. Um, so I guess for people that don't, there's a lot of people that don't use liquidity pools like at all. Um, and don't really know anything about them. Would you care to do sort of like a high level review of what is a liquidity pool? And then, when we talk about an APR or like what's actually happening, how are you getting rewarded, and just talk about where that comes from? Because there are even people that are part of the Splinterlands community don't know about the reward pools.
Yeah, I mean liquidity pools. It's called AMM or automated market maker pools. Is really like a kind of new way of doing markets instead of the traditional bid ask markets where people give like bids and asks. They say, I want to buy a token at a certain price or sell it at a certain price. There's kind of a new way of doing it. that was, originally like one of the biggest ones was Uniswap. I know they didn't invent the concept, but they were one of the first AMM exchanges. And the idea is that users can just put equal dollar values of two tokens into a smart contract. So you can put equal dollar values of SPS and Hive in the smart contract on Hive Engine. And then people can just trade against that. So users can just put Hive in and get SPS out, or they can put SPS in and get Hive out. And that means there's always liquidity, and the prices, the relative prices, adjust based on the number of tokens that are being traded back and forth. The cool thing is that the users, people who put these tokens in the pool, they're the liquidity providers. They earn fees from every swap. So every time someone swaps Hive for SPS in that example, there's a fee that someone pays for that to do that swap. And those fees go to the liquidity providers, and they're just split equally based on the amount of liquidity you've added. But then we and most projects in the space also offer additional rewards to encourage people to add even more liquidity. So the SPS pools will pay out SPS rewards. The DEC pools will pay out DEC rewards. You can find the exact details in the post we made a couple weeks ago. So the idea is if you take the two tokens for any of those pools, you put them in the pool, then you will accrue rewards, which you'll be able to see and claim in the game within the next week. And it'll just over time just constantly keep accruing. And the APR just shows the total amount of rewards divided by the total amount of liquidity in the pool, the dollar value. So if you provide 1% of the total liquidity in the pool, then you will get 1% of the rewards. The rewards are calculated roughly every hour. And the APRs, will change as more liquidity enters the pool or as liquidity leaves the pool. The return, because the reward pool is fixed, the return will go up or down. So ultimately, it will incentivize people to add liquidity to the different pools until the APRs get down to a level where it no longer incentivizes people to add more. And just so everyone knows, like, liquidity is incredibly important for tokens. Some people naively think that having low liquidity is good, because then if people buy it, it pushes the price up more. But realistically, what happens is the whales will just not participate if there's not enough liquidity. If they're not going to risk a lot of money, they won't put millions of dollars into a token where there's only that much liquidity. They would moon the price just buying it, and then if they ever wanted to sell it in the future, they may not be able to get out without tanking the price. So having a really high liquidity is actually one of the best ways to help get more people, and especially whales, into the token. So I think this is a really important step in the right direction, adding the liquidity rewards.
Yeah, completely agree. Thinking through, put your head in the head of a like millionaire or somebody with a ton of money that they could or potentially put in. And if you try to buy SBS off the market and it would move the price substantially, that would make you nervous. And then secondarily, if you then wanted to sell it later, you would again move the price substantially. And those are not things that whales are excited to be doing. You want it so that if you're putting $1 million in, your $1 million isn't going to be impacting the pools that much. So, the more liquidity that we have there, the easier it is for people to slosh money in and out of the game, which is hopefully, making trading happen more frequently and keeping people, the people that want to be able to put money in are able to put in as much as they want rather than being held back. As you think through the kind of next steps, there's a whole bunch in that white paper about like the pieces that are coming online. We're stopping the airdrop today, but not every single pool is coming online. Which ones do you think are the sort of next up, or what do you think of the developments in particular for SPS that are like really kickstarting the utility of this thing? Matt sort of dubbed this the distribution phase, and we've been in a year of distribution phase, and I think we're moving towards the utility phase. You want to talk about some of the different utilities that we're planning to build into this, and then maybe not quite a roadmap, but what do you think is most likely to come next? And you're muted in Discord.
My
There we
bad.
go.
I didn't want you guys to hear my loud keyboard while Aggie was talking. I think this is one of the most important things we want to get across to the community as a whole about the SPS token and the whole roadmap for the game. Is, I know a lot of people are sad about the price, and there's a lot of factors, both internal and external, that affect that. But realistically, if you look at it, the last year was what Aggie said, the distribution phase, right? So we discussed earlier why we did it over a year instead of a one-time thing. And also, like, it's important to talk about why distribution is so important. I mean, anyone who was around on Steam in early 2020 knows the problems that can come from big pre-mines or huge founder stakes or whatever it is. So when you talk about decentralization, really just being on a blockchain is not enough. And if we have a DAO, which is token stake weighted voting, which is the plan for SPS and Splinterlands, like if only a couple people hold the majority of the tokens, then that's not really a great system. So that was a really important part of the distribution phase, was really to distribute the SPS tokens, as widely as possible to as many people as possible, but based on their their asset holdings and their commitment to the platform. So I think we did a really good job of that. We were looking at some numbers earlier. There's a little over 300,000 Hive wallets that hold SPS. There's a little over 94,000 that have staked SPS. And generally, if you look at the numbers, like what percent of the account of the wallets hold what percent of the tokens, it's really good, especially compared to a lot of other crypto tokens out there. Hive is another one, that has a really good distribution relative to other tokens. So that's why the distribution phase was so important. But as far as price is concerned, the distribution phase is literally just giving out tokens for free for a year. And there wasn't a whole lot to do with them. I mean, pretty much all of the utility for the SPS token hasn't even come online yet. And that's what's going to start happening now. So right now, today, why we're doing this live stream, is the kind of switch over from that year-long phase of distribution and not a lot of utility to the future, which is much less distribution and a highly increased utility. So the utility that exists already was small. I mean, you could buy the validator node licenses, which are great, but ultimately, like, that's just earning more SPS tokens. So I don't generally consider like staking rewards and things like that as utility. Earning more tokens isn't in itself a utility. So there's been some things with vouchers. There's been some promotions, with the Chaos Legion presale. There was a promotion where you could use SPS and that type of stuff. But that was small things, little bits of liquidity here and there to kind of get through the year. But going forward, first and foremost, one of the biggest things we're going to have is Rift Watchers. So it's going to be an entire edition of packs. Roughly 3 million packs at $5 worth of SPS a pack is our current plan for that. And that's all going to be SPS. So that's kind of the first utility of SPS, is that will be the only way you can purchase this entire new edition of cards. We'll continue to do things like that going forward for like the mini editions. And then, the main utility overall is governance. And, we're working, we have a project to do a first version of the governance voting system even before the validators are live. And that's really going to start to give the SPS token holders, all of you, the community, much more control and say over what happens in the entire game platform. How the tokens are used, how rewards are given out, liquidity pools, all these different things. I mean, pretty much anything you can think of. So that's like the main utility of a governance token, is the governance. And then, as we talked about in the white paper, the utility is also, it's going to require staked SPS in order to earn ranked battle rewards and other rewards in the game. So that's something we're going to, start building out, that whole system we talked about in the white paper, where you're going to need to have SPS staked or in your account or delegated to you from another account in order to earn rewards in the game. So, those are the three, I guess, main items of utility. There's, being able to purchase new things in the game, governance, and earning rewards. And those again haven't come online yet. They haven't even started. So you can definitely start to look for those over the next couple months. Those are going to start coming out. So we're switching from just giving out all the tokens for free to, stopping that, giving out less and more toward the more of them go to the more active, involved, or invested players, and then really just implementing and ramping up all the actual utility for the token.
So what do you see the order as? What's the lowest hanging fruit, or what do you think is happening first? I mean, it sounds like the liquidity pools are going live immediately. What are the next ones going live? Or the liquidity pool rewards? That's sort of your first SPS. If you buy it, hold it, and stake it in a liquidity pool, now you can start earning. What do you think is the next one that will go live?
Well, are you talking about utility, or are you talking about reward pools?
Either one. Whatever you think the general timeline is. I think folks would want to know kind of, a lot of folks like to go in order, right? Like if they're expecting, okay, liquidity pools is next and they're trying to maximize that, they'll start there. And then if nodes are next, they'll get nodes. And if the play to earn rewards are there, then they'll get cards, because some people are here to stack SPS. So what do you think the most likely order is for the development for like the next, not just for the game in general, but specifically for SPS? What either rewards pools or utility for the token do you think is like, what do you think the order is likely to be?
Yeah, the rough ordering. First of all, a lot of this stuff is going to be out over the next couple months. I mean, the team's really kind of firing on all cylinders right now, so a lot of stuff is getting out a lot faster. This is stuff we talked about earlier in the year, that was going to happen eventually. It, as always, takes a little longer than we may have thought. But we brought all these new people on earlier in the year. It took a while to get things organized and get people working together well. But now we're seeing like the sort of rush of stuff coming out that's a result of that. So, one of the first things is going to be switching the rewards for ranked battles from DEC to SPS. We talked about that on our last town hall and mentioned it in the most recent post. I think that's going to be a big deal for rewarding players. So the idea of the governance token is that the best players in the game are the players that have the higher level cards and the biggest collections and the most skill. The higher you move up, the more SPS you earn, and as long as you keep and stake those, you'll have more say in the platform. So it's like the best, most active players are the ones who get the most say over things, which I think makes sense in this scenario. So that's one of the first things. We've announced that the validator node rewards will start by the end of August, even if the validator nodes themselves aren't ready. So that's a reward pool that'll come out. And then we're targeting Rift Watcher's release probably in like mid-September. So that'll be obviously a really big one as far as utility for the SPS token. And then on top of that, there's also a project to make a V1 of the governance voting system. Again, even before the validators are live, we want to at least put a V1 voting system in place. And I think we're looking at roughly September, by the end of September timeframe for that too. And then there's going to be, adding SPS rewards for guild brawls. So that's really going to give a lot of actual value to guild brawls. So the guilds that have gotten their crowns, upgraded their buildings, will be able to get into the higher arena tiers. That's going to be super important. So I think we're not going to see everyone jammed into the first two arena tiers, because there's going to be significant rewards for the guilds that go into the higher tiers. And then, a little farther out, but definitely before the end of the year, the validator nodes will be live. There'll be the delegated proof of stake voting system to vote on the top validators. And then we're also, we don't have a specific time frame yet for the SPS staking for ranked battle rewards, but that's one on the list kind of at the end there compared to all these other things. So I don't know, did I miss anything, Aggie? There's so many things.
There's a little bit of
list in
land.
front of me.
So there's land. So at some point we'll release land, and then at a later point we'll release a way that you can earn SPS from your
Yeah.
land. Um, and then Neil was asking a question of, I'm still unclear on SPS for ranked rewards. Is that rewards for winning an individual battle, or rewards inside a chest, or both?
Oh, so that's both. Basically, you're not going to earn DEC at all through ranked rewards. So that either winning a battle or in the chest. So it will all be replaced by SPS. There's the difference between the DEC rewards and the SPS rewards is that SPS has a fixed pool. So that pool will be divided among all the chests per league, and we're working out all the details of these things, and we'll have a full post that explains the reward pool for SPS for each chest tier for each league, and exactly how it will be split and how that will work. But ultimately, that's going to be a really important thing for having the DEC token hopefully stay more stable, around 1,000 per dollar price, and then rewarding the top players in the game.
So Matt, after we switch over from DEC to SPS, how do players get DEC after that point?
Well, their DEC isn't ideally a token that is going to be earned through the game, right? That's how we that's what makes it so unstable. What we've seen in the past is the earning it. So one way you'll be able to get DEC is through the liquidity pools that are starting up or just started up now. So you can provide liquidity for DEC pools and you can earn DEC. But other than that, there's really no ways to earn DEC. So you'll just you'll need to get it if you want to use it on the market or different places to buy things. So we'll make sure that it's easy as easy as possible for people to buy it with other cryptocurrency tokens. Which we have the plus button next to your DEC balance in the game offers a bunch of options, including fiat options and credit card options to buy DEC. You can get DEC on the various liquidity pools if you know how to use those. And then ultimately, the idea is that you'll be able to burn $1 worth of SPS tokens in order to mint new DEC tokens. And that's the mechanism that will help stabilize the price from going above $1 per 1,000 tokens. So I think this is hard. I think for a lot of people, potentially wrapping their head around how this works. But this was a system kind of devised based on a lot of research into existing stablecoin systems out there, seeing what worked and what didn't work. And I think it's a really exciting potential thing for the entire Splinterlands community. If we can get DEC to be relatively stable through these mechanisms, it'll be the first stable coin that's backed by actual product. Most stable coins, or pretty much all stable coins that I'm aware of, are backed by either some physical asset or some other cryptocurrency asset, or some algorithm. Those typically don't work all that well. So this is the first time the value of DEC is not backed by, there's no dollars held in a bank account somewhere, or gold or Bitcoin or whatever it is. The value will be backed by the products that are sold in the Splinterlands website. So like right now, there's a significant discount on buying Chaos Legion packs if you use Dark Energy crystals. So the more and more people that want to buy Chaos Legion packs are going to go and buy Dark Energy crystals on the market, until it gets closer to that ideal value, and then there will be no incentive to they can just buy with dollars or other cryptocurrency. So that will help. Those two mechanisms, pricing our products in Dark Energy crystals and having the SPS burn mechanic to mint new DEC, I think will really help stabilize the coin. And then we can kind of show the world that we have a new way of doing a stable coin that kind of really hasn't been done before, and I think is ultimately better. And I think that can just be a really exciting sort of innovation in the wider cryptocurrency market as a whole that, just sort of inadvertently came out of what we're doing here in Splinterlands.
Okay.
So what happened? So one question that came up just following on, I know this is something that frankly I see asked, is Isaac asked just what happens when the SPS runs out? What happens when we stop minting more SPS? And when does that happen?
So the distribution timeline for SPS is over 5 years. So pretty much 4 years left at this point, since it's been 1 year. And that will ultimately be up to the token holders and the DAO to vote on what to do. I mean, the token holders will control the entire thing. So the DAO is also earning SPS tokens. It's earning some from license sales. 20% of that goes to the DAO. The DAO provides liquidity, and it can earn rewards and things from that. So there's a whole bunch of ways that the DAO is increasing its amount of SPS, and that SPS, the community can vote to use that SPS to continue giving out rewards in the game. After the 5 years is up, the community can vote to add new reward pools and increase the token cap from 3 billion if the community all agrees, or majority, I mean, or even a super majority agrees that that's the best case. So there's lots of options, and honestly, these things are like, it's hard for us to predict what's going to happen a month or two out from now. So imagine 5 or 4 years out from now, which is the whole idea of the DAO, is that, you kind of set a general idea of, how you think it would be best for things to work going forward. And then as things change, there can be governance proposals, and everyone can decide if changes need to be made based on the situation at that time. So rather than us trying to figure out what the best thing is to do in 5 years, we'll wait till it gets closer to 5 years and look at the situation, and then everyone can vote on what the best plan is going forward.
Okay, so let's try to just do like a little bit of a high level on that again, and just, I think some of this is still pretty complicated, so I don't think you can always just hear it once and fully understand it. So do you want to kind of like sum up what you just shared and talk through, just the highlight points or like the big bullets that somebody might want to walk away with?
Yeah, let me try. I mean, so highlight points are rewards in game are going to be switched from DEC to SPS, which will help stabilize the DEC token and be the first product-backed stable coin that I'm aware of in existence. What other bullet points do you want me to hit?
So I guess that's supposed to happen next month. Is that right? That's in August that
Yeah,
the rank
definitely.
reward switch. Okay. So so what happens to the print rate for DEC? Like how much are we printing? I know that there's like a ton of different sources and it's somewhat random, but do you have a sense of like how much DEC is going out on any given day?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot. It looks like, let me like see a number here. Something, I'd say roughly around 12 million DEC on average a day is going out via all the different pools and things that we have. That will draw. I mean, basically, the only thing that's going to be minting DEC, the only new pool after the switch to SPS rewards, is going to be the liquidity provider rewards, which is roughly like 2 to 3 million a day. So I think in the post we mentioned it's going to drop by 80%. So that, the downward pressure on DEC will hopefully, significantly drop, and then, it'll still provide the same benefits of, packs and things are going to be priced in DEC. So if there is ever downward pressure, people will get discounts on the products in the game. So that's what I mean when I say it's backed by products. It's like the price, if it falls too far on external markets, it just gives people discounts on the products and encourages them to go purchase them.
Yeah, like right now, the DEC is at almost half the peg. So like the price of a pack, if you're paying in DEC, it's literally 50% off.
Yep.
One other thing that came up, Matt, is we talked about the SPS that's been burned for the node validator sales. Do you know if that's calculated into our dashboard yet or not? And we should probably consider adding a special number there to show how much has been burned since the beginning, which would be pretty cool. I know we have the number. Wouldn't you think it'd be cool to show that off as well?
Yeah, makes sense. So the way it works is whenever someone buys a validator, the SPS in game is burned immediately. But on the numbers that are shown there are from Binance Smart Chain, where currently it has to be burned manually to match what's in the game. So that's just something that's a regular process, like once a month, roughly. The appropriate amount will be burned on Binance Smart Chain to match the amounts in the game. So it is. I mean, it's not exactly up to date, but the burn tokens on Binance Smart Chain are not shown in the total supply on the SPS management page. I think there's been something like 31 million tokens burned to date, and I don't remember when the last token burn was. So there's still some of that 31 million that maybe hasn't been burned yet on Binance Smart Chain, but it's roughly accurate. But it is not, burn tokens are not included in the total supply shown on that page, if that's the main question.
Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Okay. So overall, it sounds like DEC, we are going to not entirely stop printing it, but we're going to go cut that by something like 80%. And we're cutting, and I guess one thing that people will want to know is sort of like in terms of the value of their rewards. If SPS prices were stable and at like let's say that tomorrow there's no change and the SPS rank rewards go live and the DEC stops being printed. Do you know what would happen to the amount of money that somebody earns on average? Like we're going to give out fewer SPS, but each SPS is worth more. So do you think that rewards will, like dollar value rewards, if prices were the same as they are today, would those be going up?
Yeah, I guess I wish I had these questions ahead of time because I have numbers on this and I'm going through tabs trying to find the spreadsheet. The idea is that I think even at current prices, the total dollar value of the rewards is roughly similar. So the dollar value of the DEC rewards and the dollar value of the new SPS rewards at current prices uh, will be similar, I believe. They will be a little more skewed to the higher leagues, and that's that's what we're going for. We want to really encourage people to level up their collections, play more, increase their rating, all that stuff. And as always with these things, like we're gonna do our best to put out a system that makes sense on day one, but we're never going to get everything perfect on day one. So it's going to be a constantly evolving system. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, we'll include governance voting on any potential changes. So we're gonna make our best attempt to get a really good system out from day one, have the numbers be really good, and the rewards across all the leagues be really good, and then adjust from there. But if the total dollar value of rewards should be relatively similar, and then our hope is that as there's more and more utility for the SPS token as the game grows, that prices will reflect that, and then the value of the rewards will also reflect that going forward. And we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Okay. So is there one part of this that you're like the most pumped about or the most excited about? Like we've been doing this for a year. I guess looking backwards, is there something that you're particularly proud of or think went like really well? And then what's the piece that's got you the most excited?
It's hard to say what piece has me the most excited. I would say the SPS validator nodes are ultimately the most exciting to me, because that's really the new innovative thing that we're doing here. It's also the most difficult. So it's a brand new thing. It hasn't really ever been done before in exactly the way that we're doing it. We're also trying to apply it to this, it's not a brand new system, right? Splinterlands already exists and it's running. So we have to kind of swap this new thing in the middle of a running project, which makes it even that much more difficult. But ultimately, it will be done. Progress is being made every day, And to me, that's the most exciting thing when people around the world can independently run this software, independently validate the results. There's no reliance on us or our APIs or anything like that to get all this information and to participate. That's really like the big new exciting revolutionary thing here that we're doing. So while all the other things are very exciting to me as a game player, right? Obviously, like the reward systems and land and this new type of stable coin token and all these things are super exciting to me for all different reasons. But like ultimately, if I had to pick one, I'd say the validator nodes are it.
So, playing devil's advocate, like Bitcoin nodes already exist, and there are Ethereum nodes. What makes these nodes so groundbreaking? Like, the node technologies out there, why is it that this is different than the other nodes that are there?
Um, well, the only ones I'd say it's really similar to are like Hive Engine nodes. Really, this is a system that's very similar to Hive Engine. Um, and the difference really, it's not different, I guess, in what it does than Bitcoin nodes or Ethereum nodes or whatever uh, asset you have. But the fact that it's built on top of Hive means that it has all the advantages that Hive offers, which I still haven't, even to this day, found any other blockchains that offer that. So, like the accounts with multiple keys with different permissions, and the account recovery system, and the resource credits mechanism for using the blockchain, like all those things together make for a much better user experience for like non-crypto native people than any other blockchain I've seen. But the drawback to Hive is that it's not like a custom smart contract system, right? It only does what it does, and you can't extend it really, or extend it like in a decentralized, community-owned way. So Hive Engine was, I think, one of the first real things to add that onto Hive, but that's not exactly what we need for Splinterlands. So we're building basically our own version that's very similar to what Hive Engine is doing, but for Splinterlands and for gaming. So it will allow, in my opinion, the best Web3 apps out there as far as usability and security and all these things. It'll be far and away better than all the other ones I've tried or I know about. But it will still offer the full level of decentralization. It will still allow for anyone to independently run the code, validate the results. Everything will be open source. So it's basically the best of both worlds, in my opinion, and something that I wasn't even aware, as recently as last year, that we could realistically achieve or that it was doable. Um, I now believe that it is, and we have a roadmap to do it. So that, I guess that's why I'm so excited about this. I think it's really going to be a huge step forward for Web3 in general. It's providing a decentralized but user-friendly experience.
So,
Can I throw out something there, Aggie?
yeah, go for
But
it.
I'm excited. What has me excited about this? We're here July. We're almost about to hit August. We're 8 months into this year. And for those of people that have been around for the last bit and watch us go from last July till this July and see just the absolutely insane growth, then followed by the team's insane growth. I mean, the thing that has me most excited is to date in 2022, we've released over 21 features to the platform. We've released hundreds of improvements and been consistently driving towards release after release after release, almost weekly. We're putting more and more into the game. And what's amazing to me is players come in, they're like, win this, win that. And all of a sudden, we're just dropping stuff left and right. The validator nodes, we're getting closer and closer to getting that live, which is exciting. Land is underway, and that's super exciting. Like all these major things that we've said we were going to deliver, we are delivering. And, I just want to just shout out right now, my biggest excitement is the team that I get to work with to deliver this. Because it's one thing to have a token, it's one thing to be decentralized, but it's really, at the end of the day, it's the people that are building this. Matt and Aggie, yourselves, is starting this with Nate, and then just all the other individuals that have come behind you guys to help, lift up this community and this team. It's very humbling to be a part of such an amazing group of people. I've never been a part of a team that has this many bright and talented people in the same organization at the same time doing the same thing. And so I just want to say Thank you to everybody that's in our team. Thank you to this community who has sponsored us from the beginning and believed in us. And thank you to all of our players who have stood by us and, played the game, bought into everything. I can't say thank you so much. And also thank you to our support team and our community team who do tirelessly around the clock work to make sure everything's here. That's what has me the most excited, because really it's about the team, because that's really how we predict how successful we're going to be over the next 6 months. And it's been an amazing ride this year, and what we've got queued up for the next couple of months, it's going to be awesome.
I mean, the thing, I guess if I'll answer my own question, the thing that gets me jazzed is like when players, especially in different parts of the world that don't have a lot of socioeconomic advantages and not a lot of opportunities, start sending like pictures and gratitude towards me for this game. There's been a lot of people, and I get nervous about sharing any of these things because I don't want to just like breach somebody's confidence. But they'll send me pictures of a bed and a dirt floor and say, I'm not sleeping on the floor. I'm now sleeping on this bed, and it's because of Splinterlands. They'll send me the side of a house, and you can see that the house is getting painted and repaired. And they're like, I was only able to do this because of Splinterlands. Just today or yesterday, I saw one of the Mavericks talking about buying a house with the assets that he had in Splinterlands, or a condo. So we're helping people at a lot of different like levels of life, and part of the game design that I think is really important, and the economy design, is that from the smallest minnow to the biggest whale, I want to make sure that there's an incentive to participate here, and that we're reaching everybody. And so when I'm getting a bevy of responses like that, I feel like we're hitting some of that objective. Okay, so SPS is running out. DEC I'm sorry, the SPS airdrop is coming to an end pretty soon. We're not going to be minting DEC to nearly the same extent. Rewards are going to be in SPS. If we're switching some of the inflation from DEC rewards to SPS rewards, is that there's a little bit of worry that might cause some like selling pressure on SPS. I guess the counter to that is because the airdrop is done, it's still net deflationary. Like, what are your thoughts on if we start adding SPS as a reward in game? Is that something to be nervous about?
Well, I mean, you have to look at overall, right? So the airdrop is ending, the SPS in-game rewards are going to be added. So the net effect is that much less SPS will be minted on a daily, monthly, annual basis. So yeah, I mean, you always have to look at net amounts.
Yeah, so I guess ultimately when talking about that, it would be something like, even though we're adding rewards, it's still deflationary to SBS overall. Is that accurate?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, it's not deflationary, but it's lessening the inflation of the token significantly.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so then I guess if you were trying to think through like, hey, if I, you have like a fair amount of sophistication with this, you helped author this, and you're a player sitting there and looking at this white paper and this complicated ecosystem, and you're like, I really believe in this project, I really like it, but you don't even know like the first place to start. How would you encourage somebody to like start building their SPS stake? Like, what would that look like? What do you think are reasonable ways, and how would you kind of walk? Imagine that your new best friend is saying, "Oh, I guess I'll try this. Where should I start? What should I do?" How would you walk somebody through that?
I mean, if they're a total newbie to crypto and all this stuff, I'd say just start by playing the game. Maybe buy some packs, buy some cards in the market or whatever, and just play. And you learn one step at a time. So it's not like come in and do all the things. But that's also why I think moving to the SPS rewards is really important. So that players will come in and they'll play, and they will buy cards hopefully and move up a little, and they'll start earning SPS, right? And actually, one thing I should mention, I don't know if it was mentioned in the post, but when you earn SPS from battle rewards or loot chests or any of that stuff, it's going to be staked directly to your account, sort of like when you earn Hive power from posting on Hive or curating. So players will come in hopefully, and they'll start learning the game. They'll start getting some cards, and they'll start getting staked SPS in their account little by little, slowly but surely. And that's how they'll start to learn about that aspect of the game. So they'll see they have staked SPS, they'll see they're earning rewards from that staking rewards. They'll see, governance options, and hopefully they'll, like, one step at a time, kind of get into each part of it. So I just typically would tell people to start, buying or renting cards and trying to move up in the game as a gateway to all the other things.
And after that, is the next lowest hanging fruit something like the liquidity pools and participating in that, or what do you, as a player gets sort of more advanced in their journey, what else seem to be the best ways to earn SPS and build your stack?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard, because once you get into liquidity pools, you're talking about external blockchain platforms. I mean, even if it's Hive Engine, it's dealing with a new platform. So that's definitely a bigger step. I guess it's up to what each person wants to do. If they're interested in branching out to other platforms, then yeah, that's what they should, do and learn about how to trade tokens, how to set up different wallets on Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain. But also, I think there's plenty of opportunity for people to just stay in game, right? To just battle and earn SPS that way, earn staking rewards, and just utilize it within the game. And they don't need to venture out to other cryptos or other blockchains if they don't want to. So I guess that would be more of a personal preference.
Matt, when you said that the SPS rewards were going to be staked to their account immediately, are you
Yeah,
referring to both their chest rewards, or you're referring to battle rewards, or both?
all of it. So
All of it's
any
going to go in a
SPS
stake.
rewards you earn. Yeah,
So
and how it's going to
basic.
work is when you open a chest or you win a battle, your SPS balance is not going to increase right away. You'll basically just be accruing an unclaimed balance. So it's sort of like the airdrop. If you don't claim it every day, it'll just accrue. So your rewards will just accrue over time as you win battles and as you open chests. And whenever you want, you can just click claim, just like with the airdrop. And then it will take that unclaimed balance and it will add it to your staked SPS amount.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's very, as someone said, that this is very similar to the way Hive posts work and the way it accumulates. So for those who are familiar with how that works, you get Hive power from a post, right? This was inspired by some of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we do is inspired by Hive.
That's cool.
Ape of Wall Street added, it feels like yesterday we just began the SPS airdrop. Time sure flies. I mean, Matt, can you go back a year? Like, what was in your brain when we were launching SPS?
Yeah,
Like,
well, let me. I'll talk about a little what happened also after the launch and everything, which really also comes down to the team that we have, which Hardpoint was talking about. So I mean, when we launched SPS, there was a decision made to, kind of take a diversion from land for a little bit to do this, which I hope that most agree, as we do, that was a good decision, ultimately for everybody involved. So land was kind of our main thing that we were working on at that point. And when we had the opportunity to do SPS, we thought that this would be a rare opportunity that we needed to take advantage of. I think the timing was also happened to be very good with that. That last summer was a big boom in crypto, NFTs, play to earn gaming, all that stuff, and we took advantage of that opportunity. So we just realized that the SPS token, having a governance token and having a 2-token system in the game with DEC and SPS, would be a catalyst that could just really help kind of propel this entire ecosystem forward, getting more people in, getting more value in, just making things better for everybody. And that was, I mean, that happened. I mean, SPS was one of the major catalysts, along with the market sentiment, that kind of catapulted things from where they were like 18 months ago to even now, where everything is like 10x or so what it was back then. So that was a fantastic thing for the ecosystem. But then what happened was we definitely did not anticipate how much and how quick growth would be after the release of SPS. and we had a very small team. If anyone who was around from that time last fall like remembers, I mean, it broke everything, right? The amount of new people, the amount of transactions coming in, like literally broke pretty much everything. So we had to stop. I mean, a lot of the things on the SPS roadmap we were planning to just get right into after the airdrop, finish those up, and then get right back on land. But what happened is we had to spend like roughly 9 months, building out this entire team that we have now that Hardpoint was talking about. Um, and then having that team, learn the whole system and fix everything and get everything, running smoothly and able to handle the volume that we had as a result of the SPS release and everything that happened last year. So, I mean, that was definitely not factored into our plans, for better or worse. So there was, I would say, like roughly a 9-month period of like there really wasn't much new development happening as far as new features and everything. And then only recently in the past like 3 or 4 months, really, all that work, all that time of like building this huge team of awesome people, they have had the time to learn the system, get going, working with each other. And now we're starting to see like the benefits of all that. They got most of the things fixed. The game isn't breaking anymore or as much. I mean, and now we're ready to go as far as, okay, now we need to go back and just get all the SPS features out, get all the utility out that we had planned in the white paper, and we're simultaneously, since we have enough people, working on land, and we're also simultaneously working on a whole bunch of new features and things that we hadn't even conceived of before a year ago when the SPS airdrop started. So that was the whole timeline of things and why we're behind on certain things and why we are where we are. Ultimately, I think we're in a much better position, than if we had just kept going with land and never did SPS or never had the growth that we had last year and just kept doing new features, but no one, cared about them. So I think it was great that we had the big growth period. It took a lot of time for us to adapt to that growth period. But now that we're here, we're basically just getting ready for the next one. Is how I look at it.
And what do you see as the next one? Like we like, we talk about growth coming in. Like what do you think is going to drive that? Is it SPS? Is it game and development? Is it other products that we're building? Like what in your mind is like going to be the biggest driver here?
I mean, there's a whole lot of things. So obviously, like the crypto market is a big driver on its own, without anything else. So I don't know what crypto is going to do, but my guess is that at some point, we will, it will continue to go up, and we'll have another bull run. So one of the main things is I want us to be ready to capitalize on that as much as possible. Definitely a lot better than we were last year. We don't want to have another 9 months of like having to fix everything. We just want to be like ready to jump on that as soon as it happens. But as far as our product is concerned, I mean, a lot of people, I hear a lot of comments from the community members of like, what about the new player experience, or these things are confusing, or it's hard for people to come in and all this stuff. And I totally agree. Or the mobile app and all this stuff. You're all 100% right. But to me, until we're done kind of like making all these changes and figuring out the economics and how everything works, like that's going to be a waste of time to focus on. Like if we work on this whole new player experience right now, just as an example I gave before in a town hall, we work on this new player experience that explains to players, hey, you win battles, you earn dark energy crystals, and you can use them here, and this is how it works. But then we're switching to SPS tokens, so that would all have to be kind of redone, right? So I think right now our focus is on the harder stuff, like the new player experience and explaining this to people and bringing them in. That's the easier part. That's been done before. There are a lot of games with good new player experiences and all these things. Traditional games. But getting the whole economics of the game right, getting the governance voting, getting the validator nodes operating, and getting this whole system sort of like stable, to me is like the highest priority. And that's the hard part. That's the part that hasn't been done before. That's the part that takes a lot of trial and error and guessing and figuring things out. But we're getting like really close. We're getting much closer now than we've ever been before. So my hope is like roughly by the end of the year or so, like things will be pretty much figured out from a game economy standpoint and pretty stable. Like there's not going to be all these ranked reward changes all the time on a regular basis. Like you'll be earning set tokens and set amounts. You'll be able to kind of count on that as not changing too much. And then once that's all set in stone, then we can really focus on the other things. We can focus on the new player onboarding experience. We can explain to them how all these things work now that we're confident they're not going to be changing significantly. And that will also help us with the next levels of growth, right? If the next time crypto and NFTs blow up and we have a lot of random people that just hear about these things coming to Splinterlands, I hope they can have a much better and easier time, being onboarded and figuring out all these things, and we'll have a much more stable base for them to use. So, it's a purposeful thing that we're not focusing as much on the new player experience yet. But we will, and that's all part of what I think is going to drive the next big boom for Splinterlands.
I don't know, Hardpoint. Where do you see growth coming from?
I think Matt hit the nail on the head with a lot of things. The big points that I see where our growth is going to come from is for whatever reason we're tied to the crypto market. It's absolutely true. When people come back, people will come back. I feel like they will come back at some point, and it's going to be another run like last year and all these projects and all this investment. One of the things that when you talk about market in general, not just blockchain, but also the amount of money that's been invested in the play to earn blockchain gaming is humongous. And so I think a lot of players underappreciate the amount of energy that's going to be put into marketing over the next 2 years, play to earn and blockchain gaming. And we're going to get a lot of drift from that, I think, because there's going to be a lot of people pulling people into these new game experiences. And so once players get into it, their next inclination is going to be, where do I go? Who is the best? Who's on top? Who's been around the longest? And so I think we're just going to naturally be able to pick up a lot of momentum from the general market and the fact that there's literally billions of dollars being invested into blockchain gaming. And I think we're going to see a lot of that market kind of feed into us here. I think that's one way. The second way I see kind of a real continued excitement here is we're approaching the end of Chaos Legion in the last couple airdrops. And, we've talked about this internally, but generally the closer we get to the end of a pack sale is when packs start selling faster and faster. And it's kind of one of those things is, when we only have sold 1 million packs and we have 14 million to go, no one's worried that they're not going to get their packs. When we have 14 million sold and there's only 1 million left, then everybody's running all the numbers going, holy shit, I better get push and shove to grab my last, 1 million packs, and everything sells out in a day or something like that. So we've seen this before with past pack sales where there's this ginormous momentum that starts to get the closer we get to the end of the pack sale. And I'm seeing, like, just even right now, just looking at those pack sales, we've not only have we incentivized people to push and shove on it, but we're closing in on that last couple million packs. And I think there's going to be another big push as Chaos Legion closes out. I'm not sure if we're going to close them all out, when we'll exactly close them out, but I'm going to tell you, the closer we get, it's going to go faster and faster because there's going to be a lot of people that want to get on that action. I also think we're going to see a bunch of those packs get sold out because of DEC, as people have big piles of DEC and the airdrop is ending. So I'm hoping we'll see some packs sell out there, which will push us over that ledge, right? So it's kind of like get a little bit of the snowball rolling, get us further on in there. And I also think with the airdrop cards for the Chaos Legions, I think we have like all of our legendary summoners coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right? I think there's a lot of really nice, very cool cards that are coming here as we close out. And the thing that also is going to drive even more momentum is that every single airdrop we do, every 1 million cards that we do, the odds of getting the next airdrop summoner, those next airdrop cards, goes down. So you have to buy more packs to ensure you're guaranteed one of those drops. And I think that's one of those amazing, subtle things that most players, a lot of the old guard know very much about, a lot of new players don't realize. But by buying Chaos Legion packs, you can earn airdrop cards as each tier is sold out. So it just sort of has this natural momentum to itself that's built into our economy with packs. So I think that's another big place that I see coming in. And I also see some really cool things towards the end of the year for land. We're shooting to try to get phase one of land out in Q3. That's been our rough target internally. Whether we get there or not, don't know, but we're working hard on it. So it's going to come out soon. And when we get that first phase out, it's going to be really exciting. One of the things that I'm actually really excited about is that non-card market is going to be released soon. And there's a lot of assets that players haven't been able to trade in game yet. And land is one of those non-card market assets, those claim plots. That's going to go live here in the next 2 months. And we're just going to see a lot of great transactions going back and forth on land, especially like I'd love to pick up some more land, especially in game when it's really easy for me to turn around and do it. So that's really exciting for me. So I see a lot of really huge opportunities, and I think there's some really cool things that Matt said earlier about that we have some other things going on that we haven't talked about, but that the Splinterlands community will be a part of in a big way. So I'm pretty excited about when those get revealed here soon. So just really bullish. I mean, looking across the spectrum from the economy to the whole blockchain gaming economy to our own roadmap and what the team is working on, it's just, I don't know. I'm just really excited. There's just so many exciting things. And even just as recently as the last 2 or 3 weeks, the other thing that people haven't fully seen take effect yet is we've made some very huge changes to how you earn, how you play, and we think they're very bullish on how those are going to affect the economy in the long run. But we've only had those out for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, so they haven't even fully set into the economy as a whole. So really excited to see those come in as well. So just so many exciting things from a product perspective and from an economy perspective for the game and for the players.
I look back to back in July when we launched, and that was a big change. And then back in February when we sort of like held that team meeting and tried to start figuring out how do we produce more stuff collectively. And I think the outcomes of that, sometimes when you do stuff, you can't tell right away if it worked or not. But with that in the rearview mirror, I'm like super stoked with how that thing went, and can say like, wow, our production time and quality, our time has gone down and our production quality has gone up. And just the number of releases has gone through the roof compared to where we would have been like, this time last year. We wouldn't have back to back to back releases. We wouldn't be like piling up into the same kind of like maintenance window, or competing with each other for which one of these products is going to release first. It would just be what is the singular product that we're working on and when will it be out. Now it's trying to juggle all this stuff, and I feel like all of those things have been a really good step in the right direction. And our ability to execute on this vision has gone through the roof. But 5x, 6x, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a big chunk. We have something like 15 minutes left. So I don't know if there were other pieces that we haven't covered yet, Matt. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't been able to get to?
I could talk about stuff all day. I mean, one thing as far as pricing is concerned, it's always, this is just a general thing, not specifically related to SPS or Splinterlands, but it's unfortunate that the way the world works and the way people are is that they are only interested in something when it's getting very big and getting very hyped and things are at the top, and then everyone sort of piles in, and then things crash down and a lot of the people leave, and then the next cycle comes and the things happen again. And I myself did that early on with Bitcoin, which is why I'm not a Bitcoin millionaire, right? Because I was involved in Bitcoin since 2012, and I did that typical inexperienced trader mindset thing, whereas like, oh, I would ignore it until the price ran up a lot, and then I'd kind of FOMO in, and then it would drop down and I'd get discouraged and I'd go out. And just ultimately, all of this is not financial advice, of course, not related to Splinterlands or SPS, so you can just take this for what it's worth. But ultimately, what I learned is that you just have to find projects that you have conviction in, right? So when no matter what price you buy it at, when the price goes down, if the price goes down for like external market reasons, it has nothing to do with the product itself. Like, the Bitcoin price dropping recently has nothing to do really with the Bitcoin network or anything related to Bitcoin. Really, it's just the macro environment. If I have conviction in it, then I don't panic and I don't sell. And then you can also try to really, you know, learn when things are low, like learn when there's good opportunities to buy in when things drop down, despite a lot of, for like macro reasons, despite a lot of positive things for that project, which is, how I look at Bitcoin right now. For example, it went down for a lot of unrelated reasons, but the project itself is still doing very well and growing. The point is, it's discouraging to me, and it bothers me to see that stuff happen in Splinterlands. And I wish the price could just go up in a straight line all the time, but that doesn't happen. And I hope part of this is sort of like an education for me. Getting into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was a big education for how to like manage money and assets and allocations and all these things. And we hope, we've always talked about Splinterlands being a gateway into cryptocurrency and into blockchain and all these things. And part of it can be a great learning experience, just the same way Bitcoin was for me, about how markets work. And, there's ups and downs, and, not to FOMO in at the high and then dump at the low, which unfortunately most new people to the space will do. But hopefully this can be part of a learning experience for people. Those who were around, early on from Splinterlands, saw that happen already. And some people capitalized on it, some people didn't. But ultimately, to me, the question with any project is, do you think it's still going to be around? It's still going to be improving. It's still going to be growing. And if you do, that can really color your, investment decisions into tokens or NFTs for the long term. I don't know if that was a very roundabout way of saying these things, but hopefully got the point across.
No, I dig it. And I think I'm sort of trying to follow along in chat and think through questions. And I think that the folks dig it. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that we're doing from the development side to the SPS side to, the just the focus on growing this company, growing the products, growing the team, growing the services. And I think SBS has a nice home within that. And I think, we've had to make strategic decisions along the way. I know people ask me when land, and there's interest in that. But I definitely want to, I should just publicly concur that I think we made the right call when we said, all right, we're not going to like completely back burner land, but we're gonna front emphasize SBS, and that certainly seems to have been a fantastic call. We'll find out more when we release the land and see if we see another big uptick from that. But I think we made the right call at the right time.
Matt, you just dropped this in chat. I think we should talk about it for a second. You just said that we're going to have another promo card like Dr. Blight for Rift Watchers. What does that mean? Some people here are new that weren't a part of the Dr. Blight pre-sale for for Chaos Legion. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you were talking about in chat.
I thought that the Chaos Legion pre-sale and how the whole thing worked was really good and worked really well. So I was planning to do a very similar thing for Rift Watchers, which means that before the set is actually released, before you can open the packs and get all the cards, we do a pre-sale period where a certain amount of the packs are available for sale, and will require vouchers in addition to the regular cost. So they'll be more expensive, or although if you're earning vouchers for free, that may not consider it more expensive. But the benefit is, obviously you'll get all of the airdrop cards that will come out over the course of the set. But then there'll also be a limited edition airdrop card just for pre-sale pack purchases. So with Chaos Legion, anyone who bought during the pre-sale had a chance of getting the Dr. Blight card. There will be a similar card. I don't know the name. That's a question for the art and creative team. But there will be a similar card that will be airdropped to the pre-sale purchasers of Rift Watchers packs. And the difference, though, between a limited promo card and just a regular airdrop card is the regular airdrop cards will also be available in the packs going forward. But the limited edition card will not. So it will just be a one-time airdrop, and that's it. No more of those cards will ever be minted. So the only way you'll be able to get, like, the only way you can get Dr. Blight right now is on the market. It's not available in packs or anything, and the airdrop's done. So we're planning to have another card like that, since that seemed pretty popular, and we'll hopefully be announcing the details pretty soon, the next few weeks, about that whole sale and how it'll work.
Yeah, so thanks, Matt. The one thing I also want to point out to people, I have been asked about this recently, more utility for vouchers. But really, we have two opportunities where vouchers are going to be used in the next 2 months. Is with that airdrop, that promo card for Rift Watchers, but also Rift Watchers will incorporate vouchers in some way, right, Matt? Or have we talked about that? How Rift Watchers is going to use vouchers yet?
I was planning for it to be very similar to Chaos Legion. So the pre-sale will require a voucher for every pack. And then maybe even more than one voucher potentially. We'll have to see how the numbers look. And then after that, you can use vouchers. You can spend vouchers to get bonus packs if you make a bulk purchase. So if you purchase like 100 packs, you could spend up to 10 vouchers to get 10 bonus packs for free, essentially. So that was kind of the thinking there.
Awesome. Thanks.
One thing, I've been doing these streams for a long time now. I don't even remember how many years. 247 listening concurrently in Discord is actually a pretty large amount. And so, as I talk to different people and potential investors and folks that are asking me, they always ask questions about, tell me about your user engagement, tell me about your community, tell me about this stuff. And one of the things that I'm pretty stoked about is like, this is like hopefully the bottom of a bear market. Maybe there's still room to go, but I tend to think we've been in this thing for about a year. Somewhere around here is the bottom. And even after, a year-long bear market, we still have one of the larger audiences that we've had in a main stage event like this. And then, we'll have thousands more people that are listening online and spend hours and hours like paying attention to this. Back in the day when I wasn't in Bitcoin and crypto in 2012, I started in 2016. And I remember going to some conferences and bear markets and being like, this is a ghost town, just gone. Nobody's here. There's not like that, the folks with conviction, it was just like dead, completely dead. There'd be like me and 4 other people. And now looking at, we're in this year-long bear market, and I'm still seeing so much activity in the space, just even in our own Discord, that's pretty good. The actual Discord group itself is up around like 180,000, accounts that are in here. I think that's pretty amazing. And then just in terms of like, when we went to NFT NYC and we're checking it out there was 15,000 people during this bear market. So to me, even though there's like, some low financial point, to me, it's actually staggering and really bullish overall in terms of just how much interest and enthusiasm there still is after a long bear market like this. So, maybe markets are such that they have to squash Bitcoin until everybody stops caring. But I think it's going to be impossible to get there. I mean, I think there's too many people that believe in blockchain, crypto, NFTs. And to me, this is, it's sometimes like you'll see posts of like, don't worry about the high price of Bitcoin, just mark the lows. Well, like the lows for attendance seem to keep going up. And so everything that I'm looking at and watching just makes me like really excited for this space and this growth, and just how the community is still active, both in Splinterland specifically and cryptocurrency at large. Okay, so we're coming up with just maybe 5 minutes left here. So I think it's time for some closing thoughts and just kind of, I don't know, talk about the last bits of SPS that are on your brain. What else do you want to get across? And, how do you feel about the airdrop ending, and how do you feel about this new era starting?
Do you want to mention like, future airdrops for other projects?
I mean, I think you just did. So go ahead and go ahead.
Well, we've talked about it before. I meant, did you want to talk about that? I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah. So man, Matt's putting me on the spot. Okay, so I've tried to talk through for a while that Splinterlands is going to be working on not just Splinterlands. We have a couple different projects that are out there, and as we roll these out and as we think through them, there's more than one, and we Matt shared this a while back of like when we started working with Warner and other groups. There's the question would be, do we want to do this or not? And the challenge was, if we don't do it, it's very likely somebody else will, and then we can't direct them to our audience, to our game, to our platform, to our ecosystem. So I know that some people would like us to just have 100% focus on the Splinterlands ecosystem, but I think we can all say that, like, if there are some larger ecosystems that we can bring in, that's really exciting. So over the last year, we've gathered some groups that want to work with us, and we're building out projects. And not all of those details have been released, but I guess Matt is teasing the fact that we're going to have, there are other tokens that are not SPS and not DEC and that are part of different games that we'll be producing. And we are, Matt and I in particular are aware of the fact that there's zero chance in hell we ever could have produced those if not for the support of this community. So as we think through other games, other ecosystems, from sports to entertainment to maybe even some social casino kind of things, like if we build other ecosystems and other token ecosystems, we want to be including airdrops for SPS token holders. So there's not until those other things are announced, I can't tell you this is the exact way that'll happen. But mostly as a form of gratitude and knowing that we wouldn't be in a position to do this if it wasn't for Splinterlands. I guess the party doesn't stop today. There will be future airdrops coming, and it's something that, as long as we are contractually able to do it, I think Matt and I are both in the mindset of we really want to provide, thanks and gratitude to the SBS token holders that made this possible. Did I cover that accurately? Anything else you'd want to add to that?
Just FOMO.
It's just one of the many things that's going to be happening for SPS over the next couple months.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I can't say anything, but I'll just say that it's interesting sitting on this side of the camera, right, where we get to see everything that we're doing. I know about all the projects, have been involved in them in some parts, and it's really cool because I feel like there's a lot of people in our community. We have a very diverse community, everybody from the positives to the negatives, to people that are wildly FOMO, to people that are wildly pessimistic. But when you just see like what this company can do and what the team's working on and the types of projects we're doing, and then how we link all this back into Splinterlands and how we give value back to our community members that have been along, that's the part that gets me super excited. So it's like, I'm just jazzed and I'm excited. I'm a huge gamer. That's what really brought me into this, was the gaming aspect of it, and just super excited about some of this stuff that we're going to be able to share. And you teased it a second ago, Aggie, and what you just said, but I don't want to give any more away, but I just want to say, guys, it's pretty freaking cool. I'm really excited when we can finally show you guys the extra stuff that we're working on, and just know that I hope you guys, when you see it, will be as excited as we are that have been working on it, to be able to see it and share it with you.
Yeah. So one last thing sort of about growth in general. I just asked Ron to sort of drop a link in chat. We picked up another big streamer. So you guys might have heard this yesterday, but there's a new streamer that it's Ali Straza, and she's like a big Hearthstone streamer. So she's actually going to be streaming Splinterlands content at 6 p.m. today. So before this whole thing gets out, I just want to remind folks that you're going to want to go check this thing out, and come watch us on Twitch. She's one of the bigger, most like established streamers and for like trading card games in particular, and she's going to be streaming about Splinterlands. And I think going forward, she's making moves in this space, and hopefully bringing her audience, which is in the hundreds of thousands of people, with her, and using her influence to help guide them here. So, these are all the kinds of things that get me excited, that make me think that we're continuing to move in the right direction, and that that gives me conviction in this project. And I think we're surrounded by a wonderful team, a great community of players. I think that Matt and I have the right mindset to help reward the players that have staked and built here for a long time, and keep you guys first and foremost. And I look forward to many more years of growth. I'm super grateful that we did this airdrop. I'm excited that it was a year long, and I'm just so excited that the damn thing is ending, and we get to get out of the distribution phase into utility phase, and should be pretty awesome. Any last thoughts, Matt?
I don't know. Yeah, it's just really exciting to be moving on to the next phase of this project and starting to have the real utility and the whole point of SPS start to be developed and put out there. Yeah, and as always, we've been through multiple bear markets. I don't see any reason this one would be any different, although I don't know for sure. And we're just gonna get ready for the next bull market is basically the plan here.
I hope so. All right, Hardpoint, any last thoughts from you, sir?
Land ho.
We're working on it. All right, fellas. Well, ultimately, this is only possible because you guys are here. Thanks for being part of our community. Thanks for helping our game grow. Thanks for giving Matt and I, in particular, this opportunity to be here, build this, and live this dream. So thanks to all. Thank you to the airdrop. So glad to have some SBS, and I'm so happy that the airdrop is ending. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you around in the Splinterlands.
See you guys.